So this lady is currently getting dragged online because she's an older woman, maybe in her 30s, and she's talking about how she's just learning how to put lotion on when she gets out the shower. And people are dragging her for filth. Like, how you didn't learn that. That's one of the basic hygiene things that you learn besides brushing your teeth. And I'm just looking at this in utter confusion because people aren't taking into consideration that not everybody had that influence or education. I also just recently watched a video by a creator that I actually really enjoy her content. And the video was good. She was talking about the trend of romanticizing your menstrual cycle. Now, as a womb wellness, self-care person online, I resonated with some of the things that she was saying, but not all of it, because people are making like your lifestyle and things that you should do and like self-care aesthetically pleasing because that's what people like. That's what people feed into. And so for that, I don't think it's a consumeristic thing. It's just more of a, how do I get my message across to the people that need to hear it? And I don't think that people, when they make comments like this or content like this, take into consideration the people who didn't have those examples. Like, for me, I went to foster care when I was 14 years old. I didn't start learning about personal hygiene, feminine hygiene until I was like 18. Like, nobody was teaching me that. I had to learn from my friends in high school, but because I didn't have like my mother or somebody actively involved, I was just winging it, trying to figure it out. And so when people say things like, how can you be an adult and just learning self-care? Like, it begins to feel like a little bit of a privilege. Like, y'all have that privilege. You had that privilege of having someone pour into you. I met a girl. I was actually a foster care social worker from the ages of 24 to 31. And I met a lot of young ladies, and they also did not have the same privilege of learning feminine hygiene and personal hygiene and self-care in the ways that people who did have someone teaching them these things, they didn't have that same opportunity. And I met a young lady who was in her early 20s and who just had a baby. She didn't know how to use a tampon. And I was so confused. I was like, how you have a baby that comes, out of your vagina and you don't know how to like take care of your vagina? That was mind-boggling to me. But then when I took some time to step back, like, there are young people out here who don't have anybody teaching them self-care and wellness and feminine hygiene and personal hygiene. I talked to one of the elders in my family, and she told me about how she didn't have nobody teaching her this. So this is generational things that we are not taking into consideration and taking into account, that I'm grateful to have now had the opportunity to find the online sisters and aunties who teach self-care, whether it be aesthetically pleasing or not. That's why I created this platform, to be transparent. Like, not all of us had somebody teaching us these things. Like, not all of us had somebody teaching us self-care. I didn't start like finding my identity as like a woman, feminine, until I got into college. Because in high school, we wore uniforms, so there was no real personality, individuality. And so I was learning from my friends. And so when I got to college, I got to experiment with like how I dressed, how I showed up in the world, got to experiment with just different things about myself. And I'm very grateful that at that point in time, I was living with my aunt, who was very feminine, and she has a daughter, and she taught me a lot more things that I needed to know. Like, she taught me about personal care. She taught me how to do my makeup. She took me to go get my nails done. She took me shopping. She let me explore different things about myself. I said I wanted to get into modeling. She taught me about that. She took me to different stores to show me like how to dress appropriately and all these other things. Whereas in other instances in my life, it was just, you shouldn't dress like that. But nobody was showing me how to do these things or how not to do these things. I started watching, like, don't judge y'all. I started watching like adult videos. I don't want to say adult videos, but I started watching like BET Uncut and stuff when I was in my teen years. I grew up thinking that video vixens were extreme femininity, like the epitome of femininity, because I would be up watching TV shows with no supervision, and I'm just like, oh, okay, so this is how women get attention. This is how, you show up in the world, by being sexy and all those things. Not really seeing the other side of femininity. And just like, so people don't think about stuff like that. You know what I mean? And I didn't realize that form of femininity was like the over sexualization of women until I got much older. Much older. It's taken me so many years to unlearn and unpack a lot of the things that I learned in my childhood about what it looks like and feels like to be a woman. Like, just now getting to a point where I feel financially stable to be able to pour into myself. Just now getting to a point where I'm financially stable to be able to pour into myself as far as like my self-care and how I'm dressing. I'm about to go shopping for clothes at Target. There was a point in time I could not afford anything outside of the thrift store. I couldn't afford anything outside of, like lower end clothing. So I just feel like as other women, we just should give grace to our sisters, our feminine counterparts who are on the journey trying to figure it out. Regardless of how they're trying to figure it out, right? Because everybody's journey is different. Everybody's journey is going to look different. Like, I always thought that being riled up and rowdy and rough and tough, like that was okay. It was cute to be like that. I wasn't ever like a soft, meek, quiet woman. Have never been. I don't know if I ever will be. But being exposed to women who are softer, who are, like just feminine. Like, I just told somebody on Threads that I didn't know about YouTube, like all of this, until 2020. She said she started her channel in 2014. A lot of young girls grew up in high school with like Jackie Aina and a lot of like the beauty girls. I ain't know nothing about it. I didn't learn about all of this stuff until 2020. I didn't know who Jackie Aina was until last year on TikTok. I didn't even know her for being on YouTube. So we have had a lot of different experiences. And I think we should be allowed to explore that however we can. Not allowed, but just like, there's such a societal pressure to be a certain way or a certain thing or to show up a certain way. And it's just like, let people find themselves in a way that they can. Not everybody can afford to be, this certain type of image and aesthetically pleasing woman, like them dragging that lady online about not knowing that you're supposed to put lotion on after you get out the shower was crazy to me. Because, like, who said that was something that people just taught? Like, where were they supposed to get that information from? And there are so many little things like that people deem as something like, you're just supposed to know these things. Like, about personal hygiene, feminine care, personal care, all of those things. And it's so mind-boggling to me. And I'm grateful for the non-judgmental spaces. And I pray that I create a non-judgmental space. Like, in light of these things, like, I'm going to try to be better with, like, how I communicate my message, or just, like, communicate the things that I'm showing. Because we all got to start somewhere. There are people who are way older than me just figuring it out, or have never figured it out. Just never had the opportunity to figure it out. Like, there are women in their 50s and 60s who wanted to be more feminine, and they just didn't get the opportunity to. You know? Like, give people time and grace and space to figure it out. Like, stop being so freaking mean. Yeah, that really bothered me, y'all. And I just had to pop my camera on and talk about it, because I'm in this space of reclaiming and relearning my femininity. And the stuff that I be saying online, it's just like, y'all are so mean to people who are just trying to figure it out. You know, I'm trying to relearn how to be a woman at this stage in my life. What does that look like to me? What does it feel like to me? I'm about to go in here and try on these clothes to figure out, like, what do I feel good in? What feels good on my body? Learning how to do makeup, learning personal care, learning how to take care of yourself, on your period, or just in general, just taking care of yourself, your hormonal health. None of these things are talked about when we're teenagers. In school, it wasn't talked about in my school. I learned how to do my own hair in the 9th grade in gym class. Not 9th grade. I was in middle school, and a lady had cut the lady who did my hair cut my hair. She wasn't supposed to cut my hair, and I got in trouble for it. And one of the girls who I was cool with, she used to protect me from bullies and stuff. She taught me how to do my own hair. And so now I do my own hair, and I would love to get to a point where I have somebody else doing my hair and all these other things, but I'm a DIY girly, and I'm trying to elevate my sense of, like, style and, like, personal care. Let us figure it out. Let us figure it out. So yeah, y'all. Okay. I had to get that out. I'm about to go in the store. After this video, y'all will be seeing my Target haul and also a day in a life video. So be sure to check those out. Let me know in the comments how y'all feel about all of this, where you're at in your personal care, feminine hygiene journey. Like, am I tripping? I don't think I'm tripping. I think that people just need to let people figure it out. And that's just that. That's just all, period. And then you think about it. Sorry, I'm coming all the way back. When you think about it now, these young girls now, how they're acting like city girls. Think about the images that we have. Like, for years, it was, I want to be a city girl. I want to be a hot girl. And now we see that that's not the lifestyle that you want to live. Think about the media and how the media plays into this perception of womanhood. We got to think about that, because I literally used to watch these videos like, so that's what I got to do to be. I was out here trying to rock 6-inch heels when I was like 13. No lie. Trying to wear, like, belly shirts, and I couldn't understand why the women in my family was just like, they were just so repulsed. Like, what are you wearing? And I'm like, this is this is how they dress on TV. So, I'm trying, not that I was trying to get attention, but that's what I thought that being feminine was. Now I'm like, oh, okay, you don't have to dress like that to get attention. You don't have to act like, to get attention. It's a learning process. Let people learn. That's all I got. See you on the next one.